Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
We got an update from Bangladesh today, and which is super fun. I love getting updates from different countries. It is just amazing. But one of the things that they told us today was that they see something that they're not used to seeing. And it really made me think a lot about how we interact with each other. And pretty much my entire life, this has been like a major theme in my life because my name is Charity, and charity means love, right?
Yep.
And when I was a kid, I used to tell my dad that he cursed me by naming me Charity. Because, you know, when you grow up in a church that reads the King James Bible, 1 Corinthians 13, the whole chapter says charity over and over and over and over.
So you're reading your name in the Bible every day.
And there were many times I told my dad, it's like, my name might be in there, but I am not capable of living up to that name.
That's hilarious.
Especially when I was a teenager and wanted to do my own thing, you know, then like, you know, who wants to have to be long-suffering and patient and kind in everything?
Yeah, I can understand that.
And you can totally hear my own selfish behavior in that sarcasm is because when I was a teenager, I didn't understand what Yahweh was really giving us and what we were truly had within us when we've accepted Yahshua as our deliverer.
Ah, okay, yep.
And so I really struggled with my name for a long time at the beginning of my life because I felt like it was a word I could never live up to.
Wow, okay.
And there's so many stories in the Bible about all the people that have been named by Yahweh, and their name meant something spectacular, and they never lived up to their name.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
How many
funny.
stories are there? But I couldn't even count.
Yeah.
And so then, like, you see these names, and you see their actions, and you're like, yeah, you don't live up to your name at all. And I didn't want to be that person. Because who doesn't want to be able to love somebody? I mean, everybody wants to be able to love somebody.
Yep.
But then there's times that we behave very selfishly. And our behavior doesn't come across very loving. When my daughter was born, I realized what unconditional love really meant.
Oh, okay.
And because I had thought I had an idea, you know, through the scripture and all these words that are being used, I thought I understood what it meant. But I didn't know what the feeling meant until my daughter was born. And I held that little baby in my hands for the first time. And I realized that the only way she could survive is if I loved her.
Yep.
And it didn't matter whether she loved me or not. She was so little she couldn't even comprehend what those words meant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because she's a day old. Right?
Yeah.
She's just only 1 day old, and she can't even comprehend words yet.
Yeah.
We have to give that love in order for that love to be given back. It made me see Yahweh in a whole new light. Because there's this scripture, 1 John 4:19, that says, we love him because he first loved us. And it really made that scripture come alive to me. Because that little baby couldn't love me. But if I loved that little baby, that baby would grow up to be a woman who could love me.
That's true, yeah.
Right? And who could then love her children when she grew up to have children.
Yep.
And that's the lead-in to what... That's a really long lead-in, I know.
Yeah. You know Charity, she likes to talk. So.
I do like to talk. And you know how much I love stories, right?
Yeah.
Because the testimonies are what makes the scripture come alive. And I think that the testimonies are really what help it like settle into us when we can feel what somebody else is feeling, right? And so it made me very conscious of paying attention to love. Your love should be unconditional.
Yep.
It shouldn't have anything to do with how people behave to you. it isn't about whether they've done something to you or for you or against you or with you. None of those things matter. Mm-hmm. It's who's on the inside of you that really matters.
Yep.
And so the reason I'm telling all of this as the background is because one of the things that was said to us was people really like the way we interact with each other and the kind of love that they see coming off of us when we do these videos, how we sit, how we talk, how we pay each other respect, just in the way we communicate. Mm-hmm. And one thing that someone said is, this lady said that in all the years she was married, and she was 85 or 90 years old when she made this statement, is that in all the years that she was married, her husband never looked at her the way Eric looks at me.
Wow.
And that is so sad to me.
Mm-hmm.
That you could go through life having a relationship like that with someone that you live with, you move, you have your being with them, and they don't actually love you.
Yeah. Wow.
And you know that they don't love you. Like, that's a really tough be. Like, without knowing the wholeness of the story, I don't know how to give guidance in that. And I'm not trying to give guidance in that. I'm trying to say that if we know who lives on the inside of us, that doesn't have to be our story. Because we can learn to love even if we didn't even know the person beforehand.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's one of the things like I wanted to talk about was our covenant testimony. Is there's all these different cultures that have like arranged marriages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't know each other before they came into marriage together.
Mm-hmm.
Their parents picked who they were going to marry, or an uncle or something. Some other person chose their situation. And some people have been sold off, right? You know, they have all kinds of stories about how they ended up in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And some very tragic. But just because you're in a situation doesn't mean that the situation has to control your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
The one who lives in you should be controlling your behavior, not the situation.
That's right.
And so, like, I think about our covenant coming together. It was kind of like the arranged marriage scenario.
It was absolutely like that.
But Yahweh is the one who arranged it.
I had no part in it. And I was thinking it was somebody else. Because Yahweh told me that my wife would be a pearl of great price. And he didn't say who that pearl was. And I had assumed something that was not to be. And he brought us together in a spectacular way. If you haven't watched our video on how we came together, you should watch it. It's very good.
It is, right? And I don't want to retell that story right now. What I want to talk about is the fact that we barely knew each other before coming together in covenant.
Mm-hmm.
And we had met in person 4 days before we came into covenant.
Yep.
So we had one really, really long car ride.
Yes.
What, like 28 hours?
Yep. And Charity only let me take a nap for about an hour. And
and I talked the rest of the time. Yep, I did.
We were both talking the rest of the time. It wasn't just her talking to me. I was talking to her.
That's true. That's true. I might be exaggerating on the time. It felt like it was a very,
It was all of 28 hours for sure, because we had to take a couple detours and the snowstorm slowed us down, and it was kind of it was fun, but I had only gotten like 5 or 6 hours of sleep the night before, and
I'd just come back from Turkey.
Yeah, so we weren't exactly at our peak performance, let's say.
Right?
Yeah.
But that was like that, and a little bit of time in prayer and worship was all the interaction we had in person before Yahweh shows up and says, guess what? I'm putting you in covenant. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, but when Yahweh says, I'm giving this pearl of great price to you, you say, okay, I will take it.
Right.
No matter how you feel. You're like, okay, Yahweh, you're the one.
Yeah, when you know that Yahweh tells you something, don't tell him no.
Yeah, don't say no to Yahweh. It ends badly for people that do.
It does. It ends very badly when you say no and you know that you were told exactly what to do in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you're not sure, you're not questioning whether or not it was Yahweh or something else. If you know that it was Yahweh talking to you, you better do what Yahweh said.
I think the story about Jonah is kind of that story, but I don't think that Jonah felt the misery that I've seen some people feel for making bad decisions, not going with the way Yahweh had chosen for them. Because Yahweh is there to protect you, so he takes you out of things that are coming that may be not so good for you.
Right. A lot of times he tells you stuff because a demon's trying to do something to you.
Yes.
And Yahweh's trying to keep you from getting in that situation.
Yes.
And if you would listen, you wouldn't have to go through that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then there's the other side of that coin is when Yahweh tells you to do something good, it's for your benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can get amazing results when you do what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I really wanted to talk about is the relationship that Eric and I have isn't because we knew each other for 30 years before we got together.
No.
And that's why I mentioned how long we've known each other, right? Is we'd only met in person for 4 days before agreeing to come into covenant because of what Yahweh said.
Yeah.
And we'd had conversations on the phone before, but they were only ministry conversations. There was nothing in those conversations that would have been prep work in my mind
For a
to us being in a relationship.
Yeah.
But the prep work that was actually happening in our lives, in both of our lives, was the relationship that went up. The relationship that was between us and Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
And I say up just to give an indication of Yahweh, but he's in your heart. He's in you. So if you're not focusing on loving Yahweh, how are you ever going to love the person you're with?
Yeah, that's true.
And this is one of the challenges that I think people have in relationships is they never learned to be loved, so they can't give love. Because Yahweh's trying to give you an example of what love looks like through the scripture and loving you and showing you what love looks like through the scripture. If you don't know what that is, how do you give it to another person?
Yeah, you can't. You first need to build that relationship with him so that you are ready to accept that gift that he gave you.
And it is a gift, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All relationships in our life are a gift. And like I think about my children when they were born. You don't realize how much of a gift children are until they grow up.
Yeah.
Like you can see it as they're growing, but the more time you spend with them and the more interactions and encounters that you have and the life experiences, then you can really see what Yahweh was doing. And you can see what that gift was all about. Because just like you yourself, that Yahweh's put all these things in you for you to become the person that Yahweh made you to be, Yahweh's done the same thing to your children. And you might look at them as, little babies that you had to change diapers on. But as they grow up, you get to start seeing them as other children of Yahweh. And he's put so much into them for them to do things that you couldn't even imagine. Because your brain doesn't work like theirs. And it's the same in relationships, right? We're different. We're different people, but we have the same heart of Yahweh. And so it doesn't matter that we didn't know each other beforehand.
It doesn't.
Because we chose to follow Yahweh in everything that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
To live and move and have the entirety of our being in Yahweh.
That's right.
And if we live and move and have the entirety of our being in Yahweh, then Yahweh is going to love the other person through you. And then respect is easy. Interactions are easy. Responses are easy. The way you communicate with somebody, the way you talk to them, actually becomes very easy. Even if you feel like you're getting a little frustrated.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because we can take it and make it personal, or we can take it and say, hold on a minute. I don't know why this is getting personal, but let's take a break for a second and reset, and then we'll have the conversation. And it could be that we're just really excited about a conversation or a topic, or you want to jump in and have an opinion, but you didn't listen to the story first.
That's true.
Right? And I'm thinking about a conversation we had the other night. Is I was trying to tell you a story, and you were asking a whole bunch of questions, and I couldn't tell my story. and instead of getting upset about it, my comment was, do you want to critique my words, or would you like to hear what I was thinking about?
Of course I wanted to hear what she was thinking about, but I was just wanted more details around the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes the reason I use that example is because sometimes we get so caught up in our own head that we don't realize what we're doing to the other person. And we don't realize what impact we're having to the conversation. And if both people behave that way, you'll end up causing a fight, right? Like it'll just end up turning into something that it doesn't need to turn into.
Mm-hmm.
But if we both love the way Yahweh loves, we can simply ask a question and then reset from the question on how do we move forward, right? And part of that's just simple emotional intelligence, right?
Yep.
Learn how your own emotions are feeling and where to put a check on them.
Mm-hmm.
And learn how other people react to certain words. And it doesn't have to be emotional. Because the whole world doesn't revolve around you. Right?
No.
But we think it does sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, our thoughts are on ourselves more often than they should be sometimes.
Absolutely. Right?
Yeah.
And Ruach HaKodesh is trying to tell us something and speak to us about a situation, but we're so busy thinking about ourselves and how we feel about it that we're not listening.
Yep.
And so what we were just talking about this love and this way we interact, it's a way of modeling how Yahweh is trying to interact with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh's trying to love us with this perfect love that's unconditional and completely self-sacrificial and impelled into action for you. And we're so busy chattering, we're not even listening.
Yep.
We're so busy critiquing the words that we don't have time to listen to the story. Right?
Yeah. Thanks for using that example.
And you know I love you.
I know.
But it's just such a perfect example because we all do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've been doing it a lot lately, is the more we study words, the more we are understanding things, and the more we're digging into the scripture and finding new things that we didn't know before, the more I feel like sometimes I'm just chattering and I'm not listening to my Father just loving me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to know more. I'm so excited about what I'm finding that I'm not always stopping to listen to what Yahweh has to say.
Yeah.
That's why I use this story, because that is so true in so many things we do in life.
Mm-hmm.
Is we don't take the time to shut up and listen.
Yeah.
We're excited that you are watching and listening to the things that we have to say. And may Yahweh give you all the shalom in your life that he has offered to all of the children of Yahweh.
Shalom.
Shalom.